Happy Halloween, Clipper Nation. So, unfortunately, we're on a four-game losing streak. So we started off losing against the Suns, got abused by Jack Landale. We then lost back-to-back against the Oklahoma City Thunders, which is a tanking team. And then we lost against the New Orleans Pelicans, which is at our home court, which was pretty painful to see. But we 4 games in a row. It's the beginning of the season, so it's not really gonna define us if we're gonna how good we're gonna do at the end of the seasons because the Clippers for the past 3 years are known to not perform the best within the first 20 to 30 games. Last year we had the same scenario when we kept losing to the Oklahoma City Thunders, the Blazers, everything, and then we got smacked by 51 points against the Dallas Mavericks. By the end of the season, we went to the Western Conference Finals. So I'm not gonna really just say that our window is closed and all that. Just real Clippers fans know not to overreact. I'm not gonna overreact over the loss. However, don't get it twisted. There are some red flags that needs to be an eye opener, or maybe we will eventually be on a bad losing streak that we might have to make some changes. Who knows? But end of the day, there will be light shining at the end of the tunnel. But in this video, I'm just gonna create some questions, 2 questions specifically, and I'm just address it, give my own perspective. But this time, you guys do the talking in the comment sections on what you guys think, and I'll definitely converse with you. So let's just dig it in. So first question, Paul George. Paul George has been on a pretty bad shooting slump. He shot 4 for 19, 4 for 12, and basically he's not really himself lately. So some people they're not turning on Paul George. They're saying trade Paul George, do this, or Paul George is becoming washed, blah 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 blah. So should we give up on Paul George? Should we just, you know, trade him or whatever? Like I would say like on I would say when Paul George is off, even like when he's on this shooting slump, people forget that he does other things too. He definitely rebounds, he definitely play makes, and he still plays above average defense. Not defending that Paul George is off and all that. Of course, it's obviously not good that he's doing this poorly. But again, it happens to so many players. It happens to so many all stars. You have it now. Look at even Bradley Beal, supposedly one of the best scorers in the league. Now his game is he's kind of shaky as well too. You also got CJ McCollum when he was first a Pelican. He was missing a lot of shots. Nowadays he's hitting a lot of shots, but McCollum he has hot and cold games as well too. But the difference between them and Paul George is if you take their scoring away, they're just not as much of a contributor compared to Paul George. Because Paul George is more of an all-around type of guy, but he just hasn't been hitting his shots. I'm not gonna forget when Paul George, when he hit the side of the backboard. I'm not gonna forget when a lot of Clippers fans they just say, "Oh, let's trade Paul George for Beal, Levine, Simmons, and all that." Blah 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 blah. I'm not gonna switch up like that. I'm not gonna forget when Paul George dropped 40 points when we were like about to get eliminated by the Phoenix Suns for Game 5. But then, obviously, unfortunately, we lost against the Phoenix Suns, but Paul George really did his thing. So I'm not really going to give up on Paul George because, just because, it's a slump. It's a slump. It happens. It may be a pretty rough one, but let's just stick to our players. Let's just see eventually what happens. Hope, let's just hopefully he can shake off the rust. And but now let's just address question 2 in Tyronn Lue. Now, if you ask me in my opinion, like what's the big reason why the Clippers are losing? Obviously, no kidding. Paul George couldn't hit his shots, but you can't always rely on your players to be perfect. It's ultimately up to the coach to help you to win the games. And Tyronn Lue, like I kind of feel guilty when I criticize Tyronn Lue because like he does a lot of like when it matters in the playoffs, he just somehow finds a way to pull us out of the dirt. But he at the same time he does have a lot of flaws too that would put us inside the dirt. And one of the big flaws is he does not play the rookies. He's too comfortable with the 11th or 12th man unit. Like he does not give any chance to the rookies or the second year or third year player, despite them having better qualifications to play in the specific setting compared to a veterans player. But the veterans always just play the minutes, regardless how bad they are. Which is maybe the coach just want to instill confidence with them. Maybe, who knows? But you got to play the youth, and that's one thing I've always said Tyronn Lue's weakness is. And the Pelicans game showed a perfect example, or even the OKC game. We ran Norman Powell, Reggie Jackson, and John Wall the lineup. They're all 6'3", 6'2", or whatever. 6'4", the tallest, which is bound for us to get cooked, and we would struggle a lot with rebounding. We would go really small ball, and a lot of people now they're gonna talk about trading. They're gonna want to trade young talents or first rounders for a quote unquote backup big or starting big or whatever. But to be real, you already have a backup big. You already have Musa Diabate, who's a really good rebounder, and he's more of an agile defender compared to 60% of the bigs in the league. He's very switchable. He's very athletic, very good defender, and so athletic that he has a vertical of of I don't know, like of a six, like a J.R. Smith type vertical. He just sent that man in a poster. He just baptized the living heck out of the Nuggets player. So I don't understand why are you playing all these veterans small ball lineup when you could be playing Musa Diabate, who's even quicker than the small ball lineup and is a better defender and a better rebounder. But instead, you're getting cooked. You're getting fried by Larry Nance and all these all these guys who are like 6'7" and up with a small ball lineup is just I don't know. It's been Talu has made a lot of questionable decisions in terms of utilizing the roster in general. Like if you're gonna run a three guard lineup, like like I just don't understand why Brandon Boston Jr. is not playing minutes. You got Powell, Reggie, and Wall. At least play Brandon Boston in there instead of all three of them. Just either Reggie or Powell, doesn't matter, because Brandon Boston Jr. is one of the best shot creators on the team, other than Kawhi and Paul George, if we're being honest with you. And also, he's a really good defender too, and he's also kind of an all-around type of player. Just or heck, maybe give Paul George a rest and give it all to Brandon Boston Jr. Who knows? Like, but 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 like if he at least like make an effort to play Brandon Boston Jr. and Musa Diabate, I'm pretty confident the momentum will change. It will ultimately spark up the momentum, considering what he did against the Boston Celtics. Led him up by 27 points and got 4 steals. So I don't understand why Tyronn Lue is stubborn to not play Brandon Boston Jr. and he's just instead playing all these 30-year-old vets and just sticking with the good old 9-man, 11th man unit rather than like, in my opinion, I'm fine with Tyronn Lue experimenting, but he's experimenting in the wrong way. He's experimenting in the wrong way by not playing the youth like Brandon Boston Jr. and Musa Diabate. So I don't know what's gonna take for Tyronn Lue to eventually open his eyes and get Boston Jr. and Diabate on the floor. Like, is it gonna take a losing streak, or is it gonna be so bad that we might fire Tyronn Lue and get a new coach that would actually make adjustments and and play the youth. Because, in my opinion, like playing the youth is one of the key factors of me considering you as a really good coach. But would it really have to go this far that Tyronn Lue might actually take an exit of the head coaching seat? I really hope not, because in my opinion, Tyronn Lue he just knows how to get the best out of the players, but he just a lot of times his rotation is just pretty questionable to say the least. But I guess I said the same thing about him against the Dallas Mavericks. But then Tyronn Lue just pulled it together, and we just somehow came back from a 2-0 deficit. But but that also indicates that he digs in the dirt too, because in the first two games he did not play Terrence Mann. He didn't even play Terrence Mann, who's a scrappy defender. He would have been. He would have. We would have at least stole one of these games back in 2021 against Luka Doncic if Tyronn Lue played Terrence Mann. He didn't really play Terrence Mann until he dropped 39 points against the Utah Jazz. It shouldn't take Terrence Mann to drop 39 points to actually play him. Like, in my opinion, just like if things are going wrong, just play the rookies, some of the mids, because Brandon Boston Jr. is far from trash. That man is fluid. He's a walking bucket and a really good defender. And Musa, he's better than 60% of the backup bigs you mentioned. Like, I'm not gonna give up a first round pick or trade Brandon Boston Jr. because I'm not gonna dig myself a bigger hole. That's something that we will love the other LA team to do, like dig themselves a bigger hole. That's the Lakers mentality. The Clippers, they should focus on trying to be homegrown and build up the youth after Kawhi and PG retires. But end of the day, just let me know what you think overall. What needs to be changed? Should we trade Paul George? Should we keep Paul George? Is Tyronn Lue still a good coach? Is he underutilizing the youth, or is he doing the right thing by not playing the youth? Just let me know what you think of the youth on the comment section. And as y'all know, have a great one, and I'll definitely get with you on the comment section. And happy Halloween.